Welcome into another episode of Fantasy Nightcap. I am your bartender for the night and host, Shane. You can follow me on Twitter at FFShaneB. And joining me tonight is your Rotating Tap, who you probably know from IBT Media, 32 and 32, with his incredible wife, Mrs. Jen Polvogt, and from Edge of Chaos on Tuesday nights. He's also a feature writer for Fantasy Pros, a writer for Trophy Smack, and an FSWA member. It is the one, the only Nate Polvogt. Nate, how you doing tonight?
I'm wonderful, man. Anytime we get to chop it up that once a month, it's always a good night.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining me tonight, especially on kind of short notice and post Disney World trip.
Yeah, right. You just got back from Disney World, man. I'm
Yeah,
jealous.
yeah. It was a ton of fun. I'm still tired. I'm still broke, but it was worth it.
Oh, dude, Disney World's a blast. I haven't been since I was 19, so I'm very jealous.
Oh wow.
Going as a 19-year-old sucks. There's just not. You're too old for like the kids stuff, right? Like the theme parks are awesome. The theme parks are great, but then we did a Disney cruise, right?
Oh,
And on
okay.
the cruise, like, I'm too young to do any of the club stuff, but
Yeah.
I'm too old to do any of the kids stuff.
Yeah.
So I was just stuck on a boat for 4 days. I'm sorry, a ship. It's a ship.
Quit blowing holes in my ship. Sorry. After Disney, me and the kids had we started a Disney movie marathon sort of by watching Pirates of the Caribbean and then A New Hope.
Oh, nice. That's
So
always fun.
yeah, it was good.
Teach them,
Good.
teach them young.
Exactly. It was a good Sunday. All right. So Nate, what we are doing tonight, I am starting a little YouTube short series called Rookie Draft Reviews. And basically what I'm going to do is have people send me their rookie drafts, and I'm going to look at just their picks. I may look at the draft board for context, but just going to look at their picks and then kind of analyze their draft and kind of what I think about it, how much I liked it, how much I hated it, etc. Got a couple of guiding questions to just chat about it real quick. But what we're going to do tonight is kind of premiere that series by reviewing each other's drafts. So you sent me three, I put three on the show sheet, and we're just going to take turns reviewing each of those. But before we do that, do you know what time it is?
Talk about what we're drinking.
Bingo. What are you drinking, Mr. Polvogt?
I'm having a Coors Light. If I finish this, I'm probably going to move on to a Black Cherry Truly. We'll see how I'm feeling.
Cheers.
Cheers,
I'm
man.
I'm drinking a Michelob Ultra. I was debating between this and a pre-made Long Island tea that I got in the fridge, and went with this because beer sounded better tonight.
I get it, man. Sometimes mixed drinks are just a little too much.
Yeah. Well, and I know I plan to indulge myself in that tomorrow night on the show, so I was just gonna wait for that.
Very nice.
All right, so you're ready for the first one where I'm gonna review your draft.
Let's do it.
All right, let me get the screen pulled up real quick. And I hope that's the right one. It doesn't look like it. I think that's it. Yep, there we go. All right, so this is Nate's League, Moose BYT number 1. I'm not going to ask Nate what that means, but quickly we're going to review Nate's picks. He was picking out of the 108 slot and had James Cook. Then he had traded away his second round pick, the Fantasy Moose, friend of mine, longtime supporter of me and the Nightcap. Love that dude. Took David Bell at his 208 slot. Then Nate took Tyrion Davis Price at 308.
That's right.
Kyron Williams at 4.05, and then Greg Dulcich at 4.08. So, Nate, my favorite pick of your entire draft was Kyron Williams. I love Kyron Williams. I think despite testing poorly at his combine and pro day, he's still talented enough to be up there with those kind of top tier backs. He just obviously didn't get the draft capital for it. However, my hot take of the summer, Nate, I don't know if you've heard this, is Kyron Williams is quite possibly the best running back in that backfield.
You're not the first person I've heard say that. Jake Ellenbogen from Downtown Rams kind of said something. I don't think he went quite that far. He went more of a he could be the best back in that backfield. And that's, look, 4th round, like he could become another target for Matthew Stafford.
Mm-hmm.
And I know Cooper Kupp, almost 200 targets last season. I get it. But you really think that they're going to, if they have other options, they're going to move away from Kupp a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, and the thing with me too is I think he's probably a better receiving back than Akers or Darrell Henderson.
Exactly.
Like, I'm not saying Akers is bad by any means at being a receiving back. I just think Kyron Williams' skill set fits that role much, much better.
Yeah, no, I tend to agree. I mean, this class has been, I think some of the running backs that we're getting later are going to prove to be more valuable than we're thinking they're going to.
Totally.
Tyrion Davis-Price, he could be the number 1 back by like week 3 or 4, just like we saw happen with Elijah Mitchell.
I'll get to him in a minute.
All right.
He actually, not even a minute, just a second. He was actually my least favorite pick.
Okay.
I don't see myself having very many shares of him. He's a worse running back than Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And I know you are out on Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I'm still in on Clyde Edwards-Helaire, but I think Tyrion Davis-Price is nowhere close to CEH.
See, I'm out on CEH. I might feel differently if he was in San Francisco because his style of play plays well in San Francisco.
Yeah.
The problem is that he's in Kansas City. If Davis-Price ended up in Kansas City, I would agree with you. He's basically CEH in that system. But this is San Francisco. And Kyle Shanahan finds unique ways to use running backs, just like his father did. And he can turn pretty much anybody into a 1,000-yard back, just like his father could in Denver. So I think this becomes a next man up situation to me in San Francisco every season. We watched that carousel in Denver in the late 90s and early 2000s. Once Terrell Davis was gone, it was Mike Anderson, it was Olandis Gary, it was Tatum Bell, it was Kevin Bell, it was, dude, there was like 8 straight seasons. Kyle Shanahan's
laughing at your Broncos running back knowledge and kind of crying for you at the same time.
Well, I mean, we won 2 Super Bowls in that span, so I can't be that sad.
Yeah.
I think what I'm saying is that I think that you have to look at the fact that nobody has that job locked up in San Francisco.
You don't think Mitchell does after the season that he had last year?
No, I don't.
Why?
I mean, just because of what I just said. Kyle Shanahan is a wild card when it comes to running backs.
That's fair.
And
Trace Sermon could come out of nowhere.
Well, that seems highly unlikely, but he could. And getting him, like, I could see him. Maybe he doesn't go off this year, but he's going to sit on my taxi squad anyway. I don't need him.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, he's just not one of my favorite players in the draft. And so I'm avoiding him. That's why I considered him my least favorite pick of this draft in particular.
Would you have taken Pierre Strong over him?
No.
Would you have taken Hassan Haskins over him?
No.
Isaiah Pacheco?
Nope.
Okay.
I'm not so value-wise, it's about right. It's just not who I'm picking there.
Gotcha.
I might have gone Justin Ross. Trying to look who else is there. I'm looking on the screen like a dummy. Calvin Austin, maybe. I even like Dubes or Williams there.
I just have a hard time with Calvin Austin because I don't think he's anything more than a special teams guy.
Yeah, that's
really
fair. I feel like there's a very glaring set of wide receivers that I'm just like missing off of this draft, but whatever. All right. Gonna move on. Best value to me is probably Kyron Williams again, just because you're getting him you got him in the mid 4th. I've taken him as early as the mid 3rd, depending on the draft board. So I love that. I don't think you had any reaches in this draft. So kudos to you. And then
Hey,
overall grade,
thanks.
I gave you a B minus. I'm not the biggest James Cook fan, is basically why. And then I talked about Tyrion Davis Price, but the Kyron Williams pick, I like Greg Dulcich late in the fourth. Like, he's a good dart throw. So
Dulcich isn't going to be the dart throw everyone thinks.
yeah,
He's a physically gifted tight end. This guy's going to be involved in that offense pretty quickly. It hurts Albert O's value a ton.
yeah.
But
All right. Are you ready for the next draft?
you know I am always
All right.
ready.
So this one, you're going to do the same thing to my draft. I just have to find the right one. I think that's it. Let me pull that up. Yep, that was it. Perfect. All right. So I was picking out of the 7 slot in an 8-round rookie draft. The reason it is 8 rounds is because the starting lineup is huge. It's 2 QBs, 3 running backs, 4 wide receivers, 2 flexes, 2 tight ends, a kicker, 4 DL, 4 linebacker, 4 DB, and then 2 IDP flexes as well.
Jeez, man.
Yeah.
That's
So
insanity.
that is why this was an 8-round draft. And I traded up to the 103 to get the draft moving because it was slow, and took Kenneth Walker. Then I don't believe I had another pick until 5.7, where I took Jeremy Ruckert. At 6.5, I took Pierre Strong. 6.7, I took Cade York, the kicker out of Cleveland. Shout out Linda. 7.7, I took Kyle Phillips. 8.7, I took Abram Smith. So, your questions. Favorite pick, least favorite pick, best value, any reaches, and then an overall grade.
So my favorite pick is Jeremy Ruckert. I think he's going to have immediate impact again in New York. He's talented, and like the guy got a raw deal in college. He went to Ohio State. They don't target tight ends. They haven't. They never have. It's not an Ohio State thing. But when he was targeted, like, he was effective in the red zone. He's a good route runner, but most importantly, the guy is a very good run and pass blocker, which is going to get him on the field a lot. So that, I mean, and getting him in the 5th round, I don't care what the format is. Like, tight end, like finding a good quality tight end that's going to be on the field often enough to score points in fantasy football is hard. And Ruckert could very easily be that guy. There's another guy in this class I feel the same way about that we'll talk about a little bit later. I really like that Ruckert pick. I think that's. I'm going to give you a C. I'm going to give you a B minus. I'll give you a B minus because of the Ken Walker pick.
That bumps it up to a B minus?
No, that drops it down to a B minus.
Oh, interesting. Why?
Because
sweet Jesus Christ.
I don't think he's going to be the guy who lights it up year 1 or year 2, maybe year 3. He's a guy who starts to see some role work. He's a talented runner, but everybody thinks he's going to be this pass-catching dynamo. And, dude, just don't forget that, one, Rashad Penny looked really good at the end of last season, and if he stays healthy, forget about Kenneth Walker. 2, Drew Lock looks to be their quarterback this season, or Geno Smith. I mean, you can debate which one's worse. It's kind of a toss-up to me. I'd probably rather have Drew Lock over Geno Smith.
I think you and I are the only people in that boat.
Dude, it's by like this much, though. I just don't think Seattle's going to be good for a while, and that's probably not good for Kenneth Walker.
Okay. So, 2 questions. One, the format that you have to start 3 running backs, does that change that at all?
No, because I'd just start streaming running backs, that 3rd running back slot, waiver guys.
Okay. 2, who would you have taken that went after him? So the rest of the 1st round was Treylon Burks, Aiden Hutchison, Garrett Wilson, Kenny Pickett, Jameson Williams, Sky Moore, Chris Olave, Christian Watson, and Kayvon Thibodeau.
So given that it's IDP, probably would have taken Hutchinson over him.
Okay.
I think Hutchinson is going to be someone who just he's going to be a points hog in IDP formats. Probably also would have taken Olave over him.
Really? At 103?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Did you see the Michael Thomas tweet yesterday?
No, I didn't actually.
If I borrowed, but he spelled borrowed board, your car, it's going to be full of chickens.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
There are a lot of reasons why I think Michael Thomas's time in New Orleans is done. He's made it clear he's not a fan of how the organization treated him with his ankle injury. Plus, they signed Jarvis Landry.
Yeah.
Now you've got Landry and Olave. I can't imagine that they're expecting Michael Thomas to come back. So Olave's in for a pretty decent amount of work. I mean, who's going to take it from a Marquez Callaway, Traquan Smith, Adam Troutman? You get what I'm saying. He's the kind of receiver that Jameis Winston will pepper.
Yep. All right, least favorite pick then. Is it Ken Walker?
Yeah, Ken Walker.
All right, and then best value.
I'm going to say, I think Ruckert, because it's my favorite pick because it's such a great value for what you're getting in that pick.
Other than Ken Walker, do you see any reaches?
Well, no, not really. I mean, IDP's hard to grade.
Yeah.
Just because it's hard to grade because it's such a niche format. No, I don't really think you reached anywhere. I mean, you did take Pierre Strong, but you got him in the sixth? You got him in the 6th round. I'm okay with that pick. So,
all right, now we move on to the next one.
I mean, I guess technically, I think Kenneth Walker is a reach, but
that's why I said other than Kenneth Walker. I assumed.
Yes. All right, so this is one of my favorite leagues.
There we go.
So you're going to see it.
This is the Humble Brag Dynasty, where Mr. Polvogt was picking out of the 109 slot. And at 109, he took James Cook at... Where did you go? You had another pick, didn't you?
Yep, 111 or 112.
112. I knew... I'm sorry, guys. Knew there was one that was in between his second round pick. At 112, he took John Mechie. 212, he took Sam Howell. Then his next pick was 311, Mr. Jeremy Ruckert. And that was his last pick.
Yep.
So, all right. Favorite pick for me on this one was Sam Howell. I am not a Carson Wentz guy. Not at all.
Me either.
That being said, I don't know how long he's actually the quarterback in Washington. And I think Howell I still think Howell has the upside to be the best quarterback in this class. When it's all said and done, he's might have one of the harder paths to get there right now, but the talent for me is still there. So I'm going Sam Howell.
Okay.
Least favorite pick is James Cook. I don't trust Buffalo to run the ball with a running back. So until I see that, and I know we're going to get to James Cook's passing ability in a minute. Until I see that, I'm not ready to draft him as necessarily an RB1 or even RB2. I think he will be an RB3, but that puts him right and around the same range as what you've been getting from Devin Singletary and Zach Moss. What may propel him above that into a late RB2 is his pass catching ability, which is where he may fit into this offense really well. And I know that's where people are drafting him. I'm not there yet. And if I'm late to that party, I'm okay with it. Because it feels, I don't want to say CEH-esque, but it's close. It feels like the landing spot is propping this guy up more than he necessarily needs to be, because the fit is perfect, which is what I feel like people, including myself, thought with CEH.
So here's the thing with Cook, though. They went after J.D. McKissick.
Yeah.
Remember that whole thing?
Yep.
James Cook is a very J.D. McKissick-like running back.
Yeah.
Very efficient in the passing game. I mean, he caught all 27 targets.
Oh no!
His way.
If James Cook was on the field at Georgia, you knew they were throwing the ball, and it was likely going to him.
But he doesn't get enough credit for his ability to slip through holes at the line of scrimmage because he's a little bit smaller.
Yeah.
He runs a little bit bigger than his actual size.
Yeah.
I feel like where the knock comes on Cook is that everyone's comparing him to Dalvin.
Yeah.
And that's not fair.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, sure, they're brothers, but he's a different type of runner. James Cook is a guy that's going to beat you on the edge.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to run like counters and sweeps with him where you're not necessarily asking him to find the A gap. You're just asking him to get outside the tackle and get upfield. And he can do that for 5 or 6 yards, probably fairly consistently in Buffalo, especially if they're running tandems where, they've got Cook and then they've got Singletary and they're using Moss a little bit here and there.
Yeah.
But I feel like by midseason, it's going to be mostly James Cook.
Yeah. No, I get the value or the want to draft him. I just not sold on the talent there yet to warrant that draft capital, if that makes sense.
I mean, this is such a weak class.
Yeah.
All around that you're almost some of these guys are like I feel like Jameson Williams in the first round is kind of a dart throw.
It potentially. Definitely.
Because I mean, he's walking into an offense where there's DJ Chark, TJ Hawkinson, DeAndre Swift, Amon-Ra St. Brown. You may not like it, but Khalif Raymond is still there, and he played a role last season. There's so and it's like everybody forgot that this is the Detroit Lions, a team who drafted 3 straight wide receivers in the early 2000s in the first round, none of which hit. None of them, they were all a bust.
Yeah.
And then Jared Goff's still the quarterback there. They didn't do anything to upgrade at the quarterback position. And just because he looked good for like the last 3 or 4 weeks of the season, mostly against teams that either were out of the playoffs or already in the playoffs, so it didn't really matter either way. Like, okay, so they won a few games with Jared Goff.
Yeah.
He looks decent. Whoop-de-doo.
I am with you on that one for sure. Your best value in this draft is Jeremy Ruckert at 311. I love that pick. You sold me, I think, pre-draft on Jeremy Ruckert. So now whenever you can get him, I think is great value, as long as it's late third or later, which is where you should typically draft him. So
yeah,
he was my best value in this one. You did have 2 reaches for me here.
Okay.
John Mechie and Sam Howell. So I asked you pre-show if it was super flex, and you said it was, so that the Sam Howell pick made more sense. John Mechie at 112 is a little bit early for me. I don't hate it. I'm coming very, very far. No, I won't say very far around. I'm really starting to like John Mechie in his landing spot specifically. I don't know if I would have taken him at 112. But I think the only 2 people I might have considered over him that were drafted after him were Watson and Dotson.
Watson and Dotson.
Yeah. I did not mean for that to rhyme, but it worked out.
I think there's a good chance that, so right now in Houston, they've got Brandon Cooks. We've got Nico Collins, kind of was starting to pop, and now you've got John Mechie.
Yeah.
Lovie Smith really likes Mechie, and they really like Davis Mills and what Davis Mills has progressed into. I've been fortunate enough to talk to John Harris a couple of times, who does like the Texans beat reporting. He's their locker room reporter, does some other things for him. And he has specifically said that the way that Davis Mills is received in that locker room is a guy who's going to go there and win games next season. This team absolutely loves him, and they're behind him, and they want to win with him. Mechie this is probably going to be a somewhat pass heavy offense. I mean, they've got Marlon Mack, but we don't know how durable he's going to be. You've got Rex Burke, Damian Pierce, and then you've got Rex Burkhead, which again, and David Johnson again,
David Johnson, I think got cut.
Oh, he did get cut. That's right.
At least according to Sleeper.
So we don't know what um we don't know what this offense is going to be on the rushing side, but we know that they're going to throw it.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. And again, I don't hate it. It was just a bit early, but
Okay, fair enough.
like I like the pick, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
just,
yeah.
I just would have like traded back from 112 to try and take him a few picks later.
Well, I could have. Maybe I should have. I
It's all
didn't.
right. And overall grade, I gave this one a B. Cook, Mechie, Howell, and Ruckert. That's a good draft, I think, with lots of upside from a dynasty perspective. So,
I love it.
all right.
All right, so now I've got your fantasy wildcard draft pulled up. Is that correct here?
That is correct. Let me get the actual tab pulled up.
Man, you were wheeling and dealing in this one.
Oh, yeah, it was.
You didn't keep any of your original picks. Doesn't look like here.
Okay,
You traded
so
completely
I'll
out of the
give you
first.
I'll give you context in just a second. Actually,
Okay.
there it is. Okay, so going into this draft, the only draft pick I had when it started was the 3.13.
Interesting.
So I came in second place, lost to Wardy in the finals. Then traded up to 206 or traded into the second round to take Matt Corral at 206. Traded into the 2.14 to take John Mechie. And then traded back into the third, or traded up into the third at 309 to take Kyron Williams. And those were the three picks that I had.
All right. So I love the Corral pick. That's a fantastic pick. Because if he's not starting in Carolina by at least week 4, week 5, either Sam Darnold got really good or Matt Rule just does not care about his job. And to get him in the second round, I mean, that's pretty solid. I don't hate that.
So
I'm kind of surprised.
Context on that?
Yeah, I would like some more context on that.
My starting quarterbacks going into this draft, again, only had the 3-1-3.
I see it.
Were Drew Lock, Teddy Bridgewater, and Jared Goff.
Yeah. Well, you've got Ian Book too.
Yeah.
No, I feel you, man. It's a smart pick because he is going to be a starter at some point this season. He may win the job in camp. I mean, it's hard to believe that someone who only eats chicken could win a quarterbacking job in the NFL, but it could happen.
Sam Howell,
you never know.
Matt Corral.
Oh, totally. Sam Howell. My bad. I like the Corral pick. Obviously, I like the Mechie pick at the back end of the second round where I got him in the first.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, Kyron Williams, you know how I feel about that. To get him at the back end of the third round is pretty great. I'm going to give you an A on this one.
Hey.
I think your best value is Mechie.
Yeah.
Getting him that late, getting him at 214. I don't think you reached for anybody at all. I think you had overall solid value in this draft. If anything, maybe Kylan Williams doesn't get drafted and you can just pick him up off the waiver wire. But
I honestly thought about it, or just thought about trying to wait and see if he came to me at 313. But he's one of my guys that I want to have, so I was trying to get up and get him.
Dude, I'm not. No judgment. I get you, man. And like I said earlier, this has been such a weird draft class that they're almost all dart throws at this point.
Yeah, 100%. So, all right. Well, thank you.
Hey,
I'm guessing by math though, your least favorite pick was technically Kyron Williams.
Yeah, I mean,
I only had 3.
Correct. So. All right. Are you ready to roast me? So there's some explaining I have to do. We'll get into the draft real quick, but I do need to explain some things about this league.
Yes. So this is the Chaos League.
It is the Chaos League.
Okay, cool. I got it pulled up on the screen now. You were picking out of the 2 slot
That's correct,
and
sir.
didn't trade for any other picks. So 1-2, you had Garrett Wilson, 2-2, James Cook, 3-2, Carson Strong, 4-2, Jeremy Ruckert, and 5-2, Jerrion Ely. For context that I know I can add to this, this was pre-NFL draft.
It was. It's a
And
chaos league. You got to
this is
have
the
chaos.
yes, this is the Chaos League. If you guys follow Edge of Chaos or Nate or any of the people in this league, you've probably heard about it and the Matthew Berry rule. So Nate, give us some context to this league and this draft, and then I will give you your grade and whatnot.
So this league is pure chaos. It's double super flex. So you can start up to 3 quarterbacks. What else here? What else is important about this league? It's 2 tight ends. So that's kind of insane. The scoring's insane. I think it's negative 0.69 points for an incompletion. Interception is 1.69 negative points. It's really a pretty wild league. Oh yeah, there's just a ton of like insane chaotic rules. One of the rules in this draft specifically is that you cannot draft the same position back to back. So if you draft a wide receiver in the first round, you cannot take a wide receiver in the second round. You cannot take a wide receiver again until the third round. You also must roster a homer pick, a player from your favorite team on your roster, and must maintain that through the entire season. There's a bunch of other weird rules I won't get into, but for context of the draft, that's why it's so interestingly colored and like speckled, and there's no like real like runs on a player, on player positions or anything like that. And again, it was before the NFL draft.
So nobody knew landing spot. And I love and hate those drafts because like sometimes you really nail a pick and you're like, haha, suckers, I got the best value on that one. And then other times you take Seth Williams in the second round of a draft and you're like, shit. So, all right. My favorite pick was really easy. It was Garrett Wilson at the 102. I think he's got the potential to be the best wide receiver in this draft, hands down.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't hate his landing spot probably as much as others do. I know you probably do because of the quarterback. We've talked about that at ad nauseum on other episodes, so I won't dive into too much. My least favorite pick, Carson Strong. He was my QB6, I think, pre-draft. Taking him at 3-2 is not horrible, especially when you have to start 2 QBs. But knowing what we know now, that pick kind of sucks.
Yeah.
But again, that's hindsight's 2020, right?
Exactly.
Best value, you're gonna love this. James Cook, 202. Considering he's going in the first round of most drafts now, getting him at 2-2, solid pick. Like I can't argue with that whatsoever. And then any reaches, Carson Strong, technically, I still think getting him in the third is decent. Pre-draft or pre-NFL draft, but I'm just not a Carson Strong guy. So,
and that's fair.
And then grade, I give you a B on this one as well. I think the reason for that is like Garrett Wilson starts it off strong. He got great value in James Cook, Carson Strong, and then Jeremy Ruckert and Jerrion Ely pre-NFL draft were 2 really good value picks, I think. Ely landed in Kansas City. Who knows what he can be there? You probably think he can be the starter. But then Ruckert at 4-2, like we've talked about all episode, he's got a good shot at producing in New York as a tight end. And it's so easy to make a jump from nobody into tight end 1 once you kind of get your feet wet in the NFL. Ruckert could be there pretty quickly in New York. So I like that pick a lot. And Ely is a guy who I think has upside as probably a satellite back, but he's got to get used that way. So B is your grade on this one, Mr. Polvogt.
Well, thank you, sir. All right, so let's get to your Fantasy Island one.
Yeah, this one was my team sucks in this league. But let's get that pulled up real quick. Okay, there we go. Okay, so looking at the draft board, I was picking out of the 101 slot because again, my team sucked. And then I also had the 109. So 101, I took Kenneth Walker. I know I'm going to get roasted for that in just a minute. 109, I took Jameson Williams. 201, I took Jahan Dotson. 205, John Mechie. 207, Trey McBride. 210, Zamir White. 212, Desmond Ritter. 3-1, Kyron Williams. 3-10, Justin Ross. 4-1, Matt Corral. 4-8, Sam Howell. And then 5-1, Calvin Austin. And I believe that wraps up my draft. This is 1 QB, half PPR.
Oh, that was all. Are you sure there's no more picks?
Yeah.
I was in the draft with, if any of you out there know Brad Bolt, our homie from down under in Australia, shout out Brad.
Brad's probably at work right now. Poor bastard.
Oh, I hope so. He's been really sick, so I hope he was able to get to work today. He once in a startup draft, he traded into the entire 19th round.
Oh, God.
He had every pick in the 19th round.
Oh, God.
Yep. Actually, are you in our Dynasty IDP league, balls deep?
Yeah.
Okay, it was that startup draft. He had the entire 19th round.
Wow.
And there's a bunch of people in that league who had never done Dynasty before and had never done IDP before either. And they were just like, what is happening? I don't know. You keep trading picks to them. So, I mean, you get what you get there, folks. All right. So let's go. Let's start with your draft here. I hate the Kenneth Walker pick at 101, but
I know.
I'll let it slide. I don't love the Jameson Williams pick, but I also don't hate it because I think he could separate himself in that. There's a chance he could separate himself in that offense. I mean, we're talking about DJ Chark. He's nothing special. I'm not convinced TJ Hawkinson's anything phenomenal either.
Ow.
Who knows? Then let's go. Okay, so Jahan Dotson. I am mixed on that one. I think he could be the best receiver on that team, but then it's going to be a combination of Carson Wentz and Sam Howell. So that's my issue with that one. But, I mean, second round, that's not a bad place to be getting him. I don't hate that. Mechie, obviously, in the
Rashad White, Damian Pierce, or Tyler Algier.
Algier?
Yeah.
No.
Or Mechie or David Bell at 201.
I would have taken Mechie. I don't like Bell's situation in Cleveland. I don't think that's going to pan out well for him.
I don't either. I'm glad to hear
yeah. That. So I like the Mechie pick a lot.
Okay.
Trey McBride. That's a really great pick. I know people are kind of weird on him because, Zach Ertz, but Zach Ertz is on a 1-year deal. Zach Ertz probably isn't in Arizona now next season. The 2023, we'll see Trey McBride take off. Dude, good, solid scoring tight ends are hard to come by. So.
Well, now on this team, I have TJ Hawkinson, Trey McBride, Hayden Hurst, and Austin Hooper.
That's not, I mean, Hooper
in Tennessee, I don't like. I'm like, okay.
What concerns me about any tight end in Tennessee is the tale of Jonnu Smith, man.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go to now. You've got Zamir White. I don't love that pick because I don't think he is going to do anything in Las Vegas.
Okay.
Desmond Ritter, I like that pick though. I think he might be the starter by midseason if Mariota isn't what he was those few games in Vegas. All right, and then we are back to, obviously, Kyron Williams in the third round. Don't hate that. The way this draft is going, he would have been gone by your next pick had you not taken him.
Yeah.
Justin Ross concerns me just because of the neck injury.
Yeah.
And because now we're taught there's so many wide receivers in Kansas City right now, and I include Jerrion Ely in that kind of wide receiver discussion.
Yeah, that's fair.
So the injury really concerns me. Matt Corral in the 4th round. Again, I think he might be the starter very early in the season if he doesn't win the job in camp. But then you doubled it up and got Sam Howell, so I love that as well. And then rounded it out with Calvin Austin. I mean, I don't see him being more than a special teams guy, but you really never know.
Yeah.
And you're talking about a 5th round rookie pick.
Yeah. So for context on that one, I considered Kyle Phillips. Kyle Phillips is like my dart throw late 4th round guy, but I had done it so many times that I was like, I'm going to diversify my portfolio a bit and went Calvin Austin here instead.
See, I probably would have gone Bo Melton, honestly. Okay. I think there's Bo Melton has probably more opportunity to be seen in Seattle because Dwayne Eskridge just isn't it. So, and he plays that kind of same slot role. But I mean, so I'm going to give you a C only because I just don't like the Kenneth Walker pick. I feel like that was a little bit too early for him. And Zamir White, like I just don't think Zamir White's going to pan out. And to take him in the 2nd round, I don't love it.
Even in the late 2nd?
Even in the late 2nd, okay. I would have taken Davis Price over him. I would have taken, obviously, you got Kyron Williams. Yeah. I probably would have taken Brian Robinson over him, and I probably would have taken Hassan Haskins over him as well. Okay. And I know Haskins is behind Derrick Henry, but if Derrick Henry gets hurt, and I mean, realistically, how many seasons of elite production does Derrick Henry have left? Haskins is very similar to Derrick Henry in running style, so he could be just throwing it out there. But again, Zamir White too could be great.
They didn't pick up Josh Jacobs' 5th-year option, if I remember correctly. So this is Jacobs' last guaranteed year in Oakland.
So that's a fair point.
Yeah,
I want to see what this Josh McDaniels offense is going to be.
Yeah.
That's what I'm curious to see because he's out from under Belichick, so he can do whatever the hell he wants. Yeah. He did some wild stuff in Denver with the offense here. So we'll see what happens. I think my favorite pick is probably McBride at the 207.
Okay.
I think that's pretty good value. I've seen him go earlier in a lot of drafts. Biggest reach is probably going to be White.
Okay. Least favorite pick?
Kenneth Walker at the 101.
I figured.
Though I can't call that a reach because I've seen it happening a lot, and I just keep my mouth shut.
And then best value?
Trey McBride.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's mid to late 2nd round. That's pretty good value for him.
Yeah.
I think we're talking about a top 5 tight end 2023 and beyond. So
awesome. Well, thank you, sir, for joining me tonight for the premiere of Rookie Draft Reviews.
Absolutely, man.
We got 6 in there now, people. So make sure you like and subscribe on YouTube. Send us your rookie drafts because I'll be doing these probably solo. May throw them on a couple shows just for fun, but this was the gist, is just to kind of chat about rookies, chat about your draft and how we feel about it. May throw some additional questions in as this kind of grows and I figure it out. But before we go, Nate, where can people find you and anything you want to plug?
You can find me on In Between Media at IBT_media on Twitter, in-betweenmedia.com. We've got a lot of awesome stuff going on right now, and we're just getting ready to do some new content. I've actually got a music show coming up this Thursday night live for In Between Media, which will be fun. We're just going to talk some music. It'll be just chill chat. I'm a feature writer at Fantasy Pros, and I've got some actually really cool stuff coming up with them that I'll be able to talk about soon. And I can't wait. And Trophy Smack and Edge of Chaos and 32 and 32 FF actually have a Spaces series coming up for 32 and 32 FF with the one and only Joe Pepe. We'll be on Spaces every Thursday, time to be determined, starting in June.
Nice.
Yeah.
And make sure you follow him at Nate Polvogt.
Oh, yeah, that too. Follow my Twitter or something.
Yeah. So this is the Fantasy Nightcap. You can follow us on Twitter at Fantasy Nightcap. You can follow me on Twitter at FFShaneB. Like and subscribe on YouTube. Sign up for Polly's Playoff. It is a tournament to end Alzheimer's, $10 entry fee, super flex tiered PPR. Thinking about maybe making it best ball this year. Still haven't decided yet. And I will tweet out a link later this week for you guys to join our Walk to End Alzheimer's team. If you do that this week until May 31st, you will get a bonus entry into the contest that I'm going to run in June for a prize giveaway. So sign up.
Sign up.
And this is the Fantasy Nightcap, where we serve you fantasy advice straight, no chaser. Cheers.